Shavua Tov, international friends who are tuning in. Today, the 7th of Tishrei, happens to be the yahrzeit, the Hilula, of a very famous rabbi from Syria. His name naturally was Rabbi Yaakov Antebi, who later on became the chief rabbi of Syria and passed away at the age of 60. So he actually came from phenomenal lineage, Torah lineage originally. His father was none other than a Rabbi Chacham, David Yitzchak Antebi, who was, and he was born in Chalab, Rabbi Yaakov Antebi was, and became an esteemed Torah scholar at a very young age. And later on, he got married to a woman of the name Mrs. Mazal Tov, naturally became a Rabbanit Mazal Tov afterwards, and quickly rose to a very, very grand position in the Syrian Jewish community in the year 1809, and became chief rabbi shortly afterwards, and became a very esteemed Torah scholar. He was actually a man that was made different fasts, tarnit, where he didn't eat for many, many days. This is especially during the period of Shovavim, which is Shemot, Va'era Bo, Beshalach, Yitro, and Mishpatim, during that period in Sefer Shemot. And he became very esteemed rabbi and was head of a Jewish court over there and the chief rabbi later on. Now the historians will very, very much be familiar with him all across the Jewish history and even the non-Jewish history. What took place in the year 1840 was the Damascus Affair. So what happened over here? There was the cruelest blood libels, anti-Semitic blood libels, that was put on the Jewish community in Syria, which was arguably one of the biggest blood libels in world history, one could arguably say. And sorry to bring this up on a Motzei Shabbat, but it's his Hilula tonight, his yahrzeit. So we've got to recount what actually occurred in this period that happened. In 1840, the case that had occurred was that the Syrian police had accused the Jewish community on trumped up charges. What had taken place here, friends? They accused them of murdering a Christian monk and also the Muslim servants of this Christian monk. And why? For what reason? The famous blood libel it was, that they were using the blood to bake the unleavened bread during Pesach, naturally, which is the most disgraceful anti-Semitic charge anyone could put on someone. Obviously totally untrue, and they fought to clear their name. However, they arrested many of the prime Jewish people in prison and put them through the most torturous schemes during this period, including many, many children, hundreds of children, and many prime people in the Jewish community. And also they took and imprisoned Chacham Yaakov Antebi, who was the chief rabbi at the time, and they tried to force testimonies and admissions from him. However, he refused. He didn't give in and went through the most torturous torture that was possible at that point in time. But he didn't give in and he didn't release anything. And obviously it was all total unfounded lies at the time. And naturally, at the end, it united the international Jewish community together from all over the world. And Sir Moses Montefiore actually came in and stepped in and was able to take Chacham Yaakov Antebi out of imprisonment. And Baruch Hashem, the whole case got cleared, and everyone realized that it was total blood libels at the time against the Syrian Jewish community. But he went through all of this, unfortunately. Later on, shortly after this occurred in the 1840s, he moved to Jerusalem and was greeted with the most lavish welcoming from the chief rabbi of Jerusalem at the time. His name was Rabbi Avraham Gagin, who greeted him, and he was even offered a very prime position in the Jerusalem rabbinic court within regards to the rabbinate, but he refused because he wanted to dedicate all his time at that stage in time to learn the esteemed Torah itself naturally. He passed away in 1847 and was buried at the end in Israel naturally. He was buried there. And he died at the age of 60, and he left a lot of great lineage, just like he came from great lineage, he left a great lineage also. His daughter Esther married Chacham Raphael Yitzchak Yisrael, who was the Av Bet Din over there, the head of the Jewish court in Jerusalem at the time. And also he had more great lineage also. It happened to be that his eldest daughter, Merhaba, married famous Rabbi Chaim Farhi's grandson. Also, so he left a lot of great lineage, and many of the family, I believe, live in Eretz Yisrael nowadays also. And he passed away in the year 1847. And many of his writings were compiled in a great book of the name of the Abir Yaakov, which was